Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigerian. I am Daniel Atai. Today we have some pressing national issues, also some international issues, and we would like to begin with the international one before we come to the home front, where a lot of things happens to be on the trend, some good and some bad. Ranges from the youth empowerment, the 75 billion naira for the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. We'll be looking into that. We shall also be looking into the the names of the lawmakers that the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, has given before the Nigerian masses, also the federal government, and also the National Assembly. We'll look into that, and the U.S.-China growth that is almost going into what we describe as a plan or economic tussle, or heading towards perhaps Third World War, we cannot say. All this and the rift of insecurity going on in Kaduna State is another paramount disturbing issue that we must look into if we have time. The Kaduna issue, the killings in Kaduna under Governor El-Rufai is still lingering after several years of unrest in that state, especially within the region of Kaduna South. And of course, I'll be joined with the national president of the Nigerian Youth Council of Nigeria, Solomon Adodo. He's on his way, but in the studio soon after this short break, I will introduce the comrade and activists in the studio that will be doing justice while we wait for comrade to join us. It happens to be an audience participatory one, so you get set to contribute as you view us from any part of the world. It is rich and we have to dish it to you hot, so stay tuned. Vision Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome back. And this is still Spectacle on Television Nigerian. And like I promised you, I have in the studio comrade Dan Morgan Ihomon. Comrade Dan Morgan Ihomon is an on-air personality, a socio-political affairs commentator and analyst. Welcome to Spectacle.
Thank you, Atai.
Thank you very much. At last we met again.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's nice.
And we will soon be joined by the national president of the Nigerian Youth Council, Comrade Solomon Adodo, like I said. And you can also participate into this program by the numbers displayed on your screen. And give us your quota, be constructive in your criticism, as it is going to be very, very hot today on Spectacle. However, we'll begin from the international front, where China-US growth happens to continue to linger into another dimension, and we don't know these two superpowers that happens to control almost the economy of the world, closing down their consulates, tussling via economic focus and military supremacy. Comrade Dan Morgan, before we go into that background report, what do you think is happening between U.S. and China right now? Two good friends that is becoming foes right now. So what would you say about Trump and China?
It's very simple. It's very simple. You know, the U.S. has been the world power, leading world power. And the U.S. is very strong in terms of their economy and their military might. But China is catching up very fast with the U.S. and the Americans are not liking that part of it. The Chinese, the Americans shipped all their investments to China because of cheap labor, exactly. And all their productions are done in the U.S. But now they are feeling that it's causing them to lose jobs back home, and then China is catching up. And then even in terms of the military, China is not doing badly, doing very, very well. And then China is now investing in Africa much more than the U.S. is doing. So I think that the United States government is not feeling comfortable with the pace at which China is going with their development and, of course, around the world.
Accusing China of kind of stealing their military softwares and medical intelligence research works that they've stored, and that has led Trump to have closed Chinese consulate in hosting Texas. Well, we'll take, before we come into that, we take a background report that explains vividly what is happening. We can call it gross, we can call it tussle between China and America. Please enjoy the video clip. And on the international scene, China takes over closed U.S. consulate in Chengdu. The American flag was lowered at the U.S. consulate in China's Chengdu city on Monday, and Chinese authorities entered the building as Beijing carried out a Cold War-style military closure of the mission. Earlier in the morning, state broadcaster CCTV showed footage of the flag being lowered after diplomatic tensions soared between the two powers, with both alleging the other had endangered national security. Beijing later confirmed the consulate had closed at 10 a.m. that is 0200 GMT. Afterwards, Chinese authorities entered through the front entrance and took it over, the foreign ministry said in a statement. Relations have deteriorated in recent weeks in an intensifying standoff, with the Chengdu mission Friday ordered to shut in retaliation for the forced closure of Beijing's consulate in hosting Texas. Both consulates closed 72 hours after the order was made. Footage from state media showed officials arriving at the consulate in a minibus and walking into the front of the building. They were followed by several workers in full hazmat suits and goggles, carrying cleaning equipment. Two men wearing white gloves were shown covering up as the U.S. consulate sign on the wall outside the building with a large gray sheet. The road leading to the Chengdu mission was closed on Monday, with police cordons blocking the way. State media reported that staff members had left the compound at around 6 a.m. Monday morning. A crowd gathered outside the now closed mission, and one man was escorted away by police after waving a banner and two Chinese flags while shouting "Long Live Chinese Communist Party." The U.S. Embassy in Beijing posted a farewell to the Chengdu mission in its Twitter handle like Weibo platform on Monday. "Today, we bid farewell to the U.S. consulate in Chengdu. We will miss you forever," it read. Over the weekend, removal trucks entered the site and cleaners were seen carrying large black rubbish bags from the consulate. AFP reporters saw workers removing the U.S. insignia from the front of the building. The U.S. consulate in the city covered China's southwest, including Tibet. Many Tibetans accuse the central government of religious repression and broadening their culture. Beijing says closing the consulate was a legitimate and necessary response to the unreasonable measures by the United States and has alleged that staff at the diplomatic mission endangered Chinese security and interests. Foreign Ministry spokesman Wen Bin told reporters that some U.S. staff in the Chengdu consulate were engaged in activities outside of their capacity, interfered in China's internal affairs, and endangered China's security and interests. Washington officials meanwhile said there had been unacceptable effort by the Chinese consulate in Houston to steal U.S. corporate secrets and proprietary medical and scientific research. And tensions have soared between the world's two biggest economic powers on a range of fronts, including trade, China's handling of the novel coronavirus, and a tough new security law for Hong Kong, with U.S. officials warning of a new tyranny from China. The last Chinese diplomats left the hosting consulate last Friday, with officials there seen loading large sacks of documents and other items onto trucks and throwing some in bins. Beijing said Saturday that U.S. agents forcibly entered the hosting consulate, which it said was Chinese national property. The statement warned that China will make a proper, necessary response in this regard. Nationalistic tabloid The Global Times warned in an editorial Monday if Washington was determined to push China-US ties in the worst direction, the 21st century will be darker and even more explosive than the Cold War era, it said. It said again that the rising tensions could lead to unprecedented catastrophe, according to the AFP News. Report of what is going on between China and the United States of America in the advent of this novel coronavirus known as COVID-19. Well, I may say, what actually would the world say if US and China, the two world powers, both in terms of military, economy, and even social, talking about high-tech or scientific research works, and so on. Are we expecting in no distant time a third world war?
I don't see a third world war coming.
Okay.
Yes, this issue will go back and front.
Okay.
You know, as I've said before, the American government is looking at the kind of money the Chinese government is having now, the kind of impact the Chinese are having around the world. Look at Chinese investment in Africa, in Kenya, in Nigeria. Look at the kind of investment they are doing. The US are not happy with it. Look at China military strength. It's developing day by day. And the same thing that the Americans are accusing China of, the Americans are doing the same thing.
Okay.
So I don't see any third world war coming up, because it is a normal thing for these world powers to, you know, push and shove each other for resources, for military might, and so on and so forth. So there's no war that's going to come out of this. That's the truth. But I think China too is standing its own ground, because the Americans started first.
America did the first blood.
Good. And then China has to replicate.
Of course.
It's as simple as that.
All right. And if we want to look at it from this angle, the US have been the police of the world, even among the NATO countries. They accuse China of tyranny against its neighbors like the Korea, the Tibet, and so on. This tyranny that they are accusing Chinese of, could you say that because the Chinese government are not actually practicing democracy in a way?
Well, the Chinese are practicing communism.
communism.
Yes, and that's what suits them. Look, it's not for the Americans to tell the Chinese how to live their lives. As long as they are not infringing on anybody's rights.
Exactly.
The China have a one party system, and that suits them. And I tell you today, China is doing very, very well.
Okay.
It's doing very, very well. And if the US are accusing the Chinese of meddling into Taiwan and the rest, are the US not doing, America not doing the same thing in the Middle East? So it's just their own thing, and I believe that the Chinese are just trying to also show the Americans that look, we have come of age, and of course we cannot allow you we cannot walk to your whims and caprices. We have our own policies, and we have our own international policies that we want that will be good for our own country and our own people, and that's what the Chinese are doing.
How acceptable is the Chinese international policy is going to be since they are practicing communism?
Well, China is not doing, their policies are not too bad. Look, they are giving loans to African countries, and their loans are better than even the European loans or even the World Bank loans. The payments pattern is different. And then, of course, in some place like in our country, they are rather financing, the China export banks are rather financing projects, which is good. But I see it's a threat to Americans because Trump wants Americans first, right? He puts his people first before any other thing, and he's looking at China as a threat. But to me, I think China is doing the right thing.
And could we also say that Trump is trying to use this avenue as a means of winning the people's confidence in order to skate through his second-term election just coming up by November?
Of course. Look, elections are by the corner, and politicians will use every means possible, to tilt votes to their side, and that's what I think Trump is doing. And that's what I think Trump is doing.
All right. Anyway, right now we still know that the Chinese, the Americans have about 40% of the gross domestic product worldwide, while the Chinese have 35% of the same product, just 5% gap. But the purchasing power parity, the PPP, we know that Chinese have it in terms of economy. That is, across the world, Chinese products are being sold all over the nook and crannies of the world over. While because of the price, like you said, cheap materials. This accusation, or let me say allegation, that China is trying to steal U.S. military intelligence research, trying to steal their medical research and their computer microchips in terms of the plan or the already ongoing 5G network. China was the first that launched the 5G in the world, isn't it?
Yes.
And a lot of people attribute that to the causes of COVID-19, while the world still kept it on the ground, although we can call it, what do you call it, speculation theories. But however, the world up to now have not told us what led to COVID-19, and is making the speculations, even from Trump, saying that Chinese manufactured the virus. Is it the virus issue or the economic issue?
Look, what Trump is saying concerning the 5G network, I don't think 5G network was the reason for COVID-19. I don't think it's a reason for COVID-19. But Trump has always called COVID-19 the China virus.
Yes.
He has always taken the Chinese virus, right?
And that was what started the whole rift.
Good. So it's the issue is the economy and military might. It's not outside these two. With the coming of the COVID-19 pandemic worldwide, China has handled it better than all other
US,
or better than America. And of course, the Chinese economy is coming back to life.
Yes.
And it's gaining ground faster. And you see the disparity between China and US, it was 5%.
Just 5%.
40 to 35. And of course, so the Americans will be worried that, look, if we do not check these guys, they can take over easily. So it's like a check. And Trump is doing this because he also wants to sway votes towards his side. And look, he's fighting a foreign nation, and therefore the Americans will support him.
Because The former Vice President Joe Biden under Obama's administration has also accused Trump of having no direction in his policies and how to win his second term legitimately should Americans be allowed to vote free and fair without Russian intervention, without Ukrainian intervention, or without the intervention of any country in terms of, let me say, electronic voting manipulation or hacking system. Do you see Trump coming again as a president of the United States of America?
Well,
with all this campaign, Black Lives Matter, some people have segregated him, tagged him with racism and so on and so forth.
Well, Trump has his strengths and his weaknesses. To me, I like Trump because he's a straightforward guy. I like President Trump because he's a straightforward guy. He deals with issues as they come. He is not afraid to soil his hands.
Okay, dealing with issues as they come, does that involve him making that statement saying that he might unleash the military on protesters? Is that part of dealing with issues as they come?
Well, on the issue of the protesters, that comment was, for me, it wasn't right.
Yes.
People have the right to protest. The right to protest is a right for every human being. Okay. Right to protest. So it was wrong for him. But I think he was talking based on the destruction that the protesters or people hiding under the cover of protest and causing a whole lot of destruction. I think that was where he was looking towards.
All right, we'll take a technical timeout break, and when we come back, we'll begin with the second story, and we are still expecting the youth president. The second story, which is the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund to curb restiveness, according to Sunday Dare, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. Please stay tuned.
This is Television Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TV and Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seats and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on Nigecomsat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
Daniel Atai. Thanks for staying tuned and welcome back. This is still Spectacle and we are discussing national and international issues on trend. We have just been joined by the President, Nigerian Youth Council of National Youth Council of Nigeria, Comrade Solomon Adodo, in the studio. Comrade, you're welcome to Spectacle once again.
Thank you very much for having me. Good day, Nigerians.
I brought you here on the issue of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund that the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dare, said is to curb restiveness and unemployment. Before we show that background report, what do you have to say about this approval, 75 billion naira?
First of all, we must applaud Mr. President. We must appreciate him because having the vision to know that we need to address issues affecting youth as pertains to investment and productive engagement, it shows you that we have found the epicenter of the problem and we've hit at the bull's eye in also bringing on the solution. So the next thing is to see how we can effectively and efficiently manage it. So it's a well topped up strategy by the minister to have come up with such concept. Of course, we've been in talks with the minister and the ministry, and we know the finesse that's been put in, we know the work that's been put in. There's been a lot of fine lines, and the assurances we're getting from the ministry is that this is supposed to trigger productivity. And this will also be a masterstroke that will be the springboard for addressing the major problems of our society today as it stands: insecurity, insurgency, terrorism, whatever name you might want to call it, and which have also crippled development generally. So it's a welcome development. We at the National Youth Council of Nigeria are indeed very pleased. We want to once more pitch our tents with Mr. President because he has shown that in all his leanings and his leadership voyage, he has also decided to pitch his tent with the Nigerian youth. Recall that in the twilight of his first administration, the Not Too Young to Run bill was passed into law, which opened the space for young Nigerians to come into the political arena in terms of aspiring to leadership offices. And then we also see what is being done in the fight against corruption. It's to secure the future of the Nigerian youth. Now, this one is an active trigger to say, oh, Nigerian youth, I believe in your potentials, I believe in your abilities, I believe that you can be inventive and innovative. Let's give the youth that chance. So we welcome this chance, and it's an opportunity for every youth. All hands should be on deck to see how we can assist Mr. President succeed to make Nigeria great in the interest not only of Mr. President, but in the interest of the whole nation. Because if the government succeeds, the Nigerian nation will be deemed as a great success.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Adodo. We will take the background report of that story, and when we come back, Comrade will still be doing justice to how that fund could be utilized, because we know we normally have a lot of good policies in this part of the country, but then the implementation tends to be the issue. So stay tuned and enjoy the story as it comes.
In another development, Youth and Sports Development Minister Sunday Dare has said the newly established Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, NYF, will reduce restiveness and unemployment among youths. Dare spoke at the weekend when a group of APC youth leaders visited the ministry in Abuja, where they showered encomiums on the minister for securing Federal Executive Council's FEC's approval for the establishment of the fund. The minister said the fund would provide succor and showcase ideas, skills, talent, enterprise among Nigerian youths. He said it would also turn them into entrepreneurs, wealth creators, and employers, as well as lead to national development. Dare noted that President Muhammadu Buhari's approval of the fund showed his belief that the youth are the nation's greatest assets and that they deserve collective support to realize their great potentials. The NYIF joins the slew of youth-focused programs already in place by the Buhari-led federal government as part of a national plan to combat youth unemployment and drive innovation, fuel entrepreneurship, as well as support youth, small and medium enterprises, SMEs. NYIF provides a single window of investment fund for the youth, thereby creating a common bucket for all Nigerian youths to access government support, providing a less cumbersome access to credit and finance for the average Nigerian youth with an approved work plan or business idea will help lift thousands of youths out of poverty and birth a whole generation of entrepreneurs, he said. The National Youth Council of Nigeria hailed President Buhari for approving the fund, which is 75 billion naira. The Youth Council praised Dare, saying the fund would enhance creativity among youths while promoting economic growth. At the end of last week's FEC meeting, the minister had told reporters that Nigerian youth with ideas and innovation would be able to apply for funding from the Youth Bank. In a statement by its Vice President, Southwest Olamide Odumosu, the Youth Council said the decision to create a special youth bank showed President Buhari's passion for the welfare of Nigerian youths. He said, since coming into power, President Buhari has shown that he has the youth population at heart. His administration's economic programs for the youth segment of our society have further enhanced our confidence in his government. From several economic intervention programs such as Anchor Borrower Scheme, Empower, among others, this administration has shown that it is committed to touching the lives of every Nigerian. He called for cautious utilization of the funds.
Well, welcome back. And that has been the background reportage of the 75 billion naira Nigerian Youth Investment Fund released by President Muhammadu Buhari as empowerment and employment to curb restiveness of the youth. And we happen to have the National Youth Council of Nigerian President in the studio, Solomon Adodo, and Comrade Dan Morgan Ihomun, Socio-Political Affairs, dealing with this subject on discussion. Now, Comrade, to you again. Actually, very wonderful policy, very wonderful approval, very wonderful thought by Mr. President and the administration, and his administration per se. What actually, usually, is the problem is that of implementation, making it going round or go round to all the Nigerian youths especially. So do you have criteria for eligibility, and does it still portend the usual heavy means or tussles of getting this loan or soft loan or empowerment? Because over time it has been very difficult after approval for Nigerian youth to actually lay their hands on such funds.
Okay, very fine. Thank you very much. You see, first of all, if we look at it this way, we are having 75 billion.
Yes.
And you need to go to the youth to see how to engage them.
Yes.
But remember, it will not be every youth that will be an entrepreneur. Some will work in industries, some will work in government agencies, and so on and so forth. And some will be entrepreneurs. Now, it's to roll for 3 years. Let's take it that it's 3. Divide the 75 by 3, you'll get 25 for each year as disbursement. So if we're to work with a disbursement of, say, 25 billion naira, and you were to reach, maybe give the youth some certain benchmark of funds, let's say ₦1 million, you'll be talking about reaching out to about 25,000 youths annually. 25,000. That's a number, that's a good number, but then compared to the number of unemployed Nigerian youths, that's a really shortfall. And then if you look at it for 3 years at 1 million naira to go to each youth, it will give you 75,000. But you see, what
it's going to be more than that.
75,000 times a million is 75 billion.
No.
75,000 times a million
Yes.
is 75 billion.
Are you
Do
sure?
the maths.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
So, you see, what matters is not how much we inject, but the manner, the pattern, and what we do. And that's why, like I said the 4th time, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is looking through the fine lines. We at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, we've been in talks with the ministry to see, okay, yes, because we got some certain degree or levels of assurances from top officials in the ministry.
And the minister himself?
Yes, and the minister himself also has stated very clearly several times that this is not going to be the usual thing.
Okay.
For instance, somebody will wake up and say, oh, because we have money somewhere. You find people say, oh, we want to import clothes.
Yes.
We want to start trading in clothes.
Or the contracts count.
We want this, we want that. We will go to China and bring these clothes at the cheap rate and sell to Nigerians. And then you have people. Then another group will say, oh, because people take water, we want to start making bottled water. Then I'm producing bottled water, he's producing, you're producing, almost everybody's producing. And then who do we sell to? You understand? So now there will be a proper mapping of industries where these funds will be channeled into, and it will trigger industrialization. The funds is supposed to trigger industrialization. So as much as this funds is not so much compared to the challenges we face, because, and of course we must understand with government that resources are limited. 75 billion, huge number, huge figure. But then what are we using it for? If you look at the problem it's supposed to tackle, it's like infinitesimal.
Yes.
But then again, if we manage it properly, you understand we can get at something. So we're also pressuring on the ministry as we talk with them that there needs to be a very, very fine definition of how we can manage these funds. We need to have industrial clusters so that youth who are having similar investments can have shared facilities. It will bring down the cost of production. Then we also need to look at the productive industry. Let's see how we can begin to have import substitution. You understand? Because that's how economies grow. You cannot grow your economy depending on imports. You import this suit that you wear, you import the tables, you import the chairs, you import the television set, you import the phones, and you import everything. So we want to see, what can we begin to produce here? I keep giving this analogy of China. China, 15 years ago, nobody wanted to use a phone that was made in China. We're all witnesses here. You know, if you check your phone, it might be made in China. Check mine, it's made in China. And most of the phones we use are well over 100,000 naira. You understand? Mine is almost 200. You understand? But it is made in China. 15 years ago, if they gave you a Chinese phone free of charge, you throw it away because the battery life was poor, everything was poor. But these people, they refine. Today, they are selling to the world. Now, I saw one statement from Huawei that they are to produce 7 million units of a particular phone. Now, this phone that they are to produce 7 million units of is well over 100,000. If you do the maths, you will be getting about 700 billion naira or thereabout. You understand? Convert that to dollars, you know, and that's what will be shipped to the world. Exactly. They also have other phones they are producing. Now, if we cannot make these phones, can we not make the phone casing? Can we not make the pouch, the screen guard, the chargers, all the accessories of the phones? But even the accessories are made in China. The earpiece is made in China. Everything is made in China. So we depend on imports. So this is a perfect...
Despite the population
yes.
that China has, they are able to equate it with productivity.
That is it. So your population could be a blessing or your population could be a disincentive. Yeah. You understand? So what we are saying is this is a perfect opportunity. Exactly. And rising from the COVID-19 challenge that has come, it has made us to see that these people are not demigods. I gave you the first instance, that they began from crude production of these phones to now refined production. You understand? I'm going to give you another instance. Before now, we didn't used to make hand sanitizers here. We will import the hand sanitizers and the rest of them. But when COVID-19 came and then there was rush for this, there was need for this, and it was as if our whole lives depended on hand sanitizers. We were forced to put on our thinking caps, and then everybody is now producing hand sanitizers.
That's true.
We not all might meet with the quality, but then with time, you'll see that we'll phase out the importation of hand sanitizers, and then we'll be producing this locally. So if we can pressure ourselves, put ourselves at that point of self-challenge as a nation. Now this fund gives us that opportunity to do so. And what we want to do also, we are working on strategic programs. Come August 12th, we are having the International Youth Day, where we'll gather leaders of thought in the youth movement. Our state chairman will bring them together. Some of the voluntary youth organizations, heads of youth organizations, will bring them together. We'll observe the necessary protocols, and then we'll stream live on all the social media, everywhere, Zoom, and all of these things. And then there'll be real-time streaming of all of this.
You people will subscribe to our platform.
Definitely, definitely. All of you will be there. Now, we are trying to see how we can build a new Nigerian economy. You understand? In partnership with Mr. President. So we welcome this one. All I will say is that let's maintain optimism, and we will also call on the youth. Do not see these funds as something as your national cake. Look at these funds as the seed that you will plant to grow the economy of Nigeria, to secure the future of this country, and then to restore the pride, dignity, and honor of our great nation on the economic front.
Anyway, thank you very much. I had wanted to ask you one question, but my friend Comrade Dan Hiomon, he's itching to say something, and I perceived you want to say, how will this be distributed? We have 36 states and the FCT. How is, from what Comrade said, 25,000 first, multiplied by 3, that is in 3 years. So the first quarter, it means, is it going to be selective according to state, or is going to encompass all the 36 states and the FCT at once? How do you want the ratio to be shared?
I think I want to first of all commend Mr. President for this feat. Yes. It is something that will go down history if it is used very well. Because for people, young people to invest and to create things, they need funds, they need capital. And it's very difficult to access capital in our country. So I'm very happy for what Mr. President has done, and I hope that it will be used, channeled very well. And I think that using it based on states will make more sense. Make more sense. At that 25,000 per state, this is what each state is going to go with this. But also the projects or the ideas of these young people who are going to have access to this money should be, as Mr. President has said here, that it should be homegrown issues, homegrown ideas. It shouldn't be like importation, as you have said. You know, part of it can go into manufacturing or production of little things that we can start with, from maybe things like nails.
So you suggest that within, from the 36 states, even the first batch of the money should be shared across the state, or it should be selective?
Of course, the state can give us a basis.
Okay.
I don't know how we want to do it, but the state can give us a basis.
Right.
It's a platform that can be shared, you know. But it also depends on what the youth from those states are bringing on the table.
Okay.
Because this money is not Father Christmas money that anybody will take and just show
now
in his
you are
pocket.
going to the area of business plan.
Very well.
And you know that area is one area that a lot of youth have shortfalls, and then sometimes their money disappears into thin air. Comrade, I think you have to say something about that, the business plans, and because it's one of the criteria for assessing the fund. And most youth can't create a perfect business plan with a vivid trajectory.
Okay, thank you very much. And that's why we're here at the National Youth Council of Nigeria. We are going to train them on all of these things. We're going to train them to succeed in business.
Right.
It's not just enough to be in business, but you should be in business to succeed. And then you're not just in business to make profit. You should also provide service. You understand? Your products should meet standards. So that it will be sustainable. That's what makes society grow. If we come and say we just want to produce these chairs to make profit, you understand? We produce substandard chairs. I'm seated here. You know, I can't relax. Just the next moment, maybe I might try to slouch back a bit. I'll topple over.
So you're talking about sustainability in the planned business they want to do.
Yeah. So we are going to give them integrated trainings, you understand? And this will be accelerated across the nation, even in short periods of time. Right. Now, it's also going to be for those who are quick to assimilate, because we need to put our best feet.
So where are you going to get the fund from for this training?
Our funds, we have already started running some trainings, and we will continue. We have an institute already, the Nigerian Youth Institute for Leadership and Economic and Entrepreneurial Development. Nigerian Youth Institute for Leadership and Entrepreneurial Development. We already have partners. We have volunteers who are training youth. We have ICT firms that are coming up. They will train on ICT. We have several others. You understand? Because now is the time for all hands to be on deck. We need to work double time. We need to work at an accelerated pace. We need to make sacrifices. I came down under so much stress a few days ago. I got medication and I got back to work. I'm a young man. We are youth. The future of this country lies on our shoulders. So when it comes to all of these things about business plan, it's not rocket science. We can do it. It's just a little here and a little there. And then we will train, like I said, we'll equip the youth to succeed in business, not just to be in business. And then for their businesses to add up to national development and economic growth, you know. So that's what we're looking at. You understand? Not just let people be engaged, let people be busy. We are changing the narrative. You understand? We want to see Nigeria produce these items. We want to see our GDP go up significantly. We want to see a rise in forex. You know, let's do more foreign trade. You understand? We want to see the value of the naira show up again. You understand? We want to see our heads high in the Committee of Nations.
We want to see our ladies when it comes, get busy doing something.
Yes. All hands. See, I want to assure the Nigerian youth, because with what Mr. President is doing, and also with the other engagements we're having, I tell you for free that this intervention fund is just one in a series of steps that the present government will take between now and 2023 when they exit. You understand? More are coming up. And by the grace of God and by our concerted efforts, unemployment will begin to whittle out gradually, and we will get a significant level of
and I say amen to that.
Yes.
Now, before we go into that story of Kaduna State and the lawmakers named in the contract scam, which will take another 10 to 15 minutes, I would like to ask you, do you still see the issue of financial fraud coming into this youth fund?
Of course, with us, it's not always too far in this country. When money comes in, people want to take from it. But as the National President have said, this money should go into into manufacturing, into service.
Okay.
You know, service provision. Well, there are jobs very small jobs that youth can engage in, and they are profitable.
Okay.
And you can live your life solely on that service you provide.
Okay.
You can earn a living and develop yourself, and even have develop your community.
You must not be a Yahoo.
No. Not everybody will do Yahoo. You know, it doesn't even make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't even make sense. It's a dent on the image of the youth.
Yeah.
When every day we see, youth photographs on national TV
Scamming.
for scams and all. Look, that
Send
knowledge.
a website that has
Good.
that.
Why not use that knowledge to create a website, create an online store?
Yes. Thank you.
Why not create an online store when you have that kind of knowledge? It'll be more productive in the end than doing Yahoo. So I believe that these monies will be channeled to the right people, using the right direction, and nothing will be taken away from it. These monies will not be stolen.
Okay. Well, the minister is hearing us on the diary, Minister of Youth and Sports Development. Of course, your younger youth president is here, the Nigerian Youth Council of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. The Comrade Dodo is in the studio on Spectacle Live. You can join us if you want to contribute, but I don't think we have much time to open the phone lines. However, we'll go into the third story, but that third story don't have a background reportage. I want to try to evade that Akpabio's calling lawmakers involved in the contract scams to go quickly for us to look into the issue of Kaduna State. What the insecurity problem that is rocking Kaduna South under Governor El-Rufai. And comrade, it is still, could you say the issue in Kaduna State is ethno-religious or tribal or youth restiveness? Because one cannot actually get it why a total lockdown curfew could be in place, and that Kaduna South, of course, you have military quarters, military regiments, and so on, even the paramilitary everywhere. It doesn't stop the killings of the Kaduna South people. Is it ethno-bigotry? What expression could we name this under Governor El-Rufai? What would you say about that?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I get to this, I would want to sound a very stern warning on this Youth Intervention Fund assented to by Mr. President.
Yes.
That anybody who is tinkering on the idea of tampering with even 1 naira of that money should know that heads will roll.
Yes.
We are going to maintain vigilance from start to finish. We will not fold our arms and watch the good intentions of Mr. President being converted to failures. There are good intentions behind this, and we'll make sure that it succeeds. Anyone who stands in the way will be crushed, will be meted appropriate punitive measures.
Exactly.
This is ours, and we'll guard it jealously and diligently.
That is it.
Now, to what's happening in Kaduna State, it's very unfortunate. We are deeply pained, but we are concerned about solutions. Now, there are myriad factors responsible for all of this.
Okay.
You find out that people harp on religious differences to be able to cause harm on their neighbors. People hold on to ethnic differences. People hold on to all sorts of differences, even political differences. You understand? So these are issues that pain the heart. But we at the Youth Council, we are so saddened by all of this that we have said, for once, let's get it right. Let's get to the root of all of this. What are the factors responsible for all of these things? You see, poverty and unemployment, underdevelopment. When you mix this in a bowl, you find out that it's a strong recipe for crimes and insecurity to thrive easily. You understand? So how can we begin to isolate them? How can we begin to separate them? Like wood, when you put them together and you ignite the flame, it goes up, it goes up. But if we begin to take out unemployment, we take out underdevelopment, we take out poverty, gradually we can see that these issues will peter out. If you have communities where there are good roads, criminals will find it difficult to come and go. But when everywhere is just like a terrain where guerrilla warfare can easily be prosecuted or carried out, they just do what they want to do, fizzle out into the nearby bushes, and nobody traces them. You understand? If you have modern, when we talk about protecting communities or states, we should not just be talking about physical military armament. We should not just be talking about the number of armored tanks we have. I saw an instructive picture a few days ago. It was a fighter jet up in the sky, and then a drone. There was this military helicopter surveillance, and then they labeled it 2010, and then 2020, just a small drone, unmanned aerial vehicle going round. So we need to move to the modern trends in terms of prosecuting warfare, in terms of policing our communities and protecting our people. You understand? We have high definition cameras that can even penetrate through dark, and give you footages of whatever is happening so that you can easily track those who perpetrate all of these things. So as much as we are pained and as much as we are worried about all of this, we are trying to say, let us find a concerted solution from the military and the security point of view, and also from the socio-economic developmental point of view. These two need to go hand in hand. If you invest more in military armaments, and particularly when they are not in line with the evolving trends, you will not achieve much. Okay. So there needs to be a balance. As you invest in military armament, you also invest in enlightening the youth, in training the youth, in sensitizing the youth. Let us know that you look at me and you look at him. Is our ethnicity reaching on our head? You can't tell where he's from, you can't tell where I'm from.
Yes.
You understand? If we're in Kaduna State, you will not tell whether we are not indigenous or not. But why is it that we pick up all of these things so easily?
All right.
When we're in Kaduna State, we say we are not Kaduna North, we are Kaduna South. Then when we come to Nigeria, we say, no, this one is not. So we in Kaduna, we are not.
No, but
this one is South.
The pressing issue,
yes,
which is a disturbing one, was that before Governor El-Rufai came to power, this ethno-tribal and religious warfare, or let me say terrorism or banditry, as you may call it, has been on ground there between the Kaduna South and the Kaduna North, and we don't even know where others usually come from. But from the mouth of Governor El-Rufai himself, he said he even followed some of those bandits and herdsmen down to other neighboring countries to beg them and even pay them to stop the crime, the killings in the North Kaduna South. And in spite of that, plus the curfew, there is still killing going on under him. What actually could holistically address this issue now?
I tell you the truth. It's a pity that at this point in our lives we are still experiencing this kind of killings within our country. It's pathetic, to say the least. But the truth is that we are still divided as a people. We are divided along ethnic lines, we're divided along religious lines, we're divided across regions and so on.
And political
and
lines.
Good. Most of this problem we have are politically motivated and crime. But I've been looking out to see when people will be tried for these crimes and jailed.
Good.
Look, we cannot get things right if we continue to chase after these criminals or bandits when they come and hit and run. Look, we're supposed to have people in the communities, community leaders, who will give information to the security agencies to know who is strange in their communities. But let me tell you something. Today, what I'm saying will be, some people now look at it, but it's true. Why is every community in Nigeria having a militia arm? Every community in this country today has a militia arm.
Yeah, because of the youth restiveness. That is what the president is just trying to address.
So the issue is, if communities themselves want to live in peace, they will. They will point out those criminal elements among them.
What about external factors? People
of course, that's our borders. That's how to deal with our borders. Our borders are very porous.
Like in the case of Kaduna State now, it has become the epicenter of, let me say, I don't know what to put it, whether it is a religious or a political or
it's a bit of both.
You understand? I don't know, or banditry or herdsmen, but the killing there has to stop.
It has to. There's no doubt about it. It has to.
It doesn't speak well of the credibility and the capacity of Governor El-Rufai, does it?
Well, you see, for us at the Youth Council, we try to see what we can do because you see the issue of security, there's concerted effort, there's the role of the federal government, and there's the role of the state government. We do not just believe in apportioning blames.
Okay.
Of course, the governor made some efforts, just like you mentioned, and those efforts did not yield the desired results. As we speak with you, we are working to meet with the governor so that we can also give him our solutions. Okay. We don't just sit in our armchairs and start criticizing and start saying, oh, this one go, this one don't go. Okay, Verify is not getting it right. Let's team up with him and see how he can get it right. So we've synthesized our solutions, part of which I've shared here. Use of modern tech devices, trying to see how we can accelerate rural development. Can we have a new countryside? You understand? Rural communities where you have good roads, where you have power supply to a great degree, and so on and so forth. So there needs to be a concerted approach. We are in talks with our members, and in a few days from now, we'll be visiting most of the states that have been affected by insecurity. Okay. We'll visit Kaduna State, we'll visit Zamfara, we'll visit Katsina, we'll even go to the Northeast. And when we go to all these places, we'll meet with the governors, we'll meet the commissioners of police, we'll meet with whoever is in charge of any other security outfits out there. And we will also talk with the youth there because they are the principal recipe for any crime or whatever, and then we'll see how we can solve it all at once.
Anyway, thanks for coming to the program today, Comrade Adodo and Comrade Dan E. Hormon.
Thank you very much.
I hope when I call you again, as usual, you will come.
You know, we always like to talk to our youth.
Exactly.
We need to redirect them at all times.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And this is where Spectacle will stop today on Television Nigerian. You've listened to all the trends we've given to you right now. You can drop your comments on our social media platforms. Do well to subscribe to our website. And if you want more of this news, check online the Nigerian news. The Nigerian news is a very patriotic reportage means of getting your news hot and well served. Just Google it. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're also on the YouTube. We are everywhere, and we beat the reach of the media. And don't forget, again, Spectacle is open for sponsorship. Anyway, I will stop here because my time is over. Thanks for watching, and I have been Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.